September brought us the release of the GoPro Hero 13 Black, and we're putting it head-to-head with the Hero 12 and Hero 11 to see if there are any significant improvements. We'll dive into the cameras, design, screens, battery, and more so that you can see for yourself. Hey, I'm Olive, your host here at Versus.com, and let me tell you, the results might actually surprise you. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether it's for better or worse. The physical differences between all three models are minimal. They share the exact same dimensions and form factor. Design-wise, they don't differ much either, except for the Hero 13, which features a new front design. The mounting system across all three models is similar, featuring GoPro's classic mounting fingers. But finally, GoPro woke up and added a magnetic mount to the Hero 13, a much-needed upgrade. With this addition, the Hero 13 finally catches up to something we really love and that brands like DJI, Insta360, and others have had for years. One key difference with the Hero 11 is that it's missing the integrated 1/4-inch thread mount that's included in both the Hero 12 and Hero 13. There's no improvement in the screens this year, as all three models feature virtually the same displays on the front and the back. The front displays are 1.4-inch LCDs, just a heads up that these are not touchscreens. On the back, you will find a 2.27-inch LCD touchscreen. Moving on to the cameras, it's a similar story as with the screens. They all share the same 1/1.9-inch sensor with an f2.5 aperture, 27.6 megapixels, and a maximum field of view of 156 degrees. This is slightly disappointing since this sensor has been in use since 2021. That said, the Hero 13 does introduce a new cool feature, which we'll get to in just a moment. But of course, numbers don't always tell the full story. It's how these cameras actually perform that really matters. But before we dive into the camera analysis, we've got a quick blind test for you. Can you guess which video belongs to which camera? Let us know your guesses in the comments before we reveal the names. Video A was the GoPro Hero 11, Video B was the Hero 12, and Video C was the Hero 13. To be honest, all three cameras look very similar, so we totally understand if you had a tough time figuring out which was which. For our camera comparison, we set the camera settings to 10-bit, the bitrate to high, and filmed using the standard color profile. At 30 FPS, all three cameras let you film at 5.3K. In this first clip featuring our videographer Max, all three cameras deliver virtually identical footage with good sharpness and accurate white balance. A 300% crop really shows us how sharp the image actually is. At 60 FPS, once again in 5.3K, the story remains the same. All videos look almost identical with a slight decrease in sharpness as a trade-off for the higher frame rate. Once we make a 300% crop, we can notice the loss in quality, but it's not that drastic. At 120 FPS in 4K, it's more of the same, although this time the sharpness takes the biggest hit. That said, the white balance and exposure remain perfectly adequate. The 300% crop really shows how the quality starts to suffer, with footage becoming noticeably smudged. Both the Hero 13 and Hero 12 offer log recording, which creates a very flat video packed with data. As you can see in this example featuring our scriptwriter, Ezzy, who, by the way, wrote this in third person. This mode lets you color grade your footage in post-production to achieve true-to-life colors like this, or get creative with your edits. The Hero 11, however, doesn't include this mode out of the box. HDR recording is available on the Hero 13 and Hero 12, while the Hero 11 lacks this feature. The Hero 13 additionally supports HDR HLG, a format that can be decoded by an SDR TV to look normal, but also decoded by an HDR TV to show HDR. As you can see, the sharpness is much higher on the Hero 13 and Hero 12 without any real difference. But the dynamic range remains the same across all videos with correct highlights, but with very crushed blacks. All three cameras let you choose from multiple field of view modes to suit the content that you're filming. There's linear for a more traditional look, wide to capture more of the scene, super view to fit even more in the frame, and hyper view, the widest option, perfect for fast-paced activities. When it comes to aspect ratios, these GoPros offer a very convenient 8x7 option. This format allows you to edit the footage in either vertical or horizontal orientation, depending on the platform, without cropping out much of the action. This is a significant advantage over competitors like DJI and Insta360, which actually don't offer this format. Here's a quick list of the modes where GoPro's 8x7 aspect ratio can be used. Additionally, you can also film in the more traditional 16:9, 9:16, or 4:3 aspect ratios without needing to physically rotate the camera. When it comes to stabilization, the Hero 13 and Hero 12 feature Hypersmooth 6.0, while the Hero 11 has Hypersmooth 5.0. You can choose to turn stabilization off on all the cameras, but as you'd expect, that results in extremely shaky footage. With stabilization turned on, things get much more stable, as expected. Here, the Hero 11 shows slightly shakier footage compared to the others, but it's nothing too noticeable. You also have Boost on the Hero 11 and Auto Boost on the Hero 12 and 13, which offer the highest level of stabilization. In this mode, the Hero 11 occasionally shows a slightly artificial look when turning, but again, it's not a major issue. Another cool stabilization feature is Horizon Lock, which keeps the horizon perfectly stable even if you rotate the camera 360 degrees, making it ideal for roller coasters. Here's a comparison with the setting turned on in the Hero 13 and Hero 11 and turned off on the Hero 12, just so that you can see how it works. As you can see, there isn't a huge difference in quality between these videos. While it's ideal to use a dedicated microphone with these cameras, GoPro included 3 built-in microphones with stereo recording in all 3 models. Now, if you want to hear how the audio sounds like recorded on these devices, here's an example for you. So now we're testing out the audio on all of these devices. I'm in a pretty busy area with quite a bit of traffic going on. So how is the Hero 11 sounding? Moving on to the Hero 12. Have there been any improvements on this one? What do we think? And finally, we have the latest Hero 13. Do I sound any better at all? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments, and now let's discuss it. As we heard, there aren't any significant differences between the Hero 12 and Hero 11 when it comes to audio. However, the Hero 13's audio sounds slightly muffled in this loud environment. So additionally, what's unique to the GoPro Hero 13 is that it now has voice enhancement abilities, so the noise cancellation should be better on here. What do we think? How do I sound? Is it any better? It's pretty busy, so what do we think? So the new voice enhancement mode doesn't really seem to do much. It doesn't filter out the background noise effectively and still leaves the voice sounding muffled. In fact, the audio without voice enhancement actually sounded slightly better. Along with videos, you can, of course, take some photos too. In daylight, all 3 cameras perform pretty much the same, delivering accurate white balance, though the sharpness leaves some room for improvement. Unfortunately, it's been really cloudy here in Berlin, so we couldn't test the limits of their dynamic range in these photos. We'll get to the night shots in just a bit, and trust us, you might be as surprised by the results as we were. To test slow motion, we first set all the cameras to 4K at 120 FPS. While the quality isn't amazing, the videos still manage to handle highlights well. However, the shadows do end up a bit crushed. Next, at 2.7K 240 FPS, the sharpness takes a serious hit, resulting in overly smooth footage with limited dynamic range and very little to no detail in the shadows. As we mentioned previously, the Hero 13 introduces a cool new feature called Burst Slow-Mo, which captures a 15-second video at an extremely high frame rate. Here's an example at 720p with an incredible 400 FPS. While the quality is a bit lackluster, it really comes in handy for capturing extreme movement situations. Timelapse is available on all models. You can choose from various resolutions and time intervals, making it perfect for capturing high traffic areas, sunsets, or even sunrises. Just set the camera on a tripod or any stable surface, and voila! The quality across all cameras is pretty much the same, with no major differences between the models. Another really cool feature, and one of my personal favorites, is hyperlapse, or time warp as GoPro calls it. It lets you create short time lapses of whatever object you're pointing the camera at. Just keep in mind that you'll need to keep the object centered even as you walk away from it. As you can see, the footage looks pretty much the same across all models, with the reoccurring issue of shadows being slightly crushed. At night, it's a whole different story compared to daytime videos, as all three cameras really struggle capturing videos full of noise. Strangely, the newest Hero 13 actually does the worst in super dark areas. In the second scene, it's unfortunately the same story with video quality that looks like it was shot on an old VGA camera. GoPro definitely needs to fix this issue as soon as possible. As we mentioned earlier, when it comes to night photos, it's a completely different story compared to daytime shots, with all the cameras really underperforming. In this first shot, my facial features are completely smudged, and in this second shot, there's a noticeable amount of noise and poor control of the lighting, resulting in blown out highlights. So as you can see, GoPro remains consistent this year in terms of video quality, with footage and photos that look nearly identical to those from previous models, especially when it comes to accurate white balance. At night, however, there's still no improvement, and unfortunately, this is for the worse. Nighttime performance has been a major shortcoming for GoPro for years, and it's disappointing to see absolutely no change. We really think that it is time for GoPro to step up its game with better sensors and improved image processing. Moving on to the batteries, we have a new and bigger 1900 mAh battery in the Hero 13, while both the Hero 12 and the Hero 11 share the same 1720 mAh battery. To test how the battery performs on these cameras, we set them all to record a 1080p video at 30 FPS until the battery died. The first to go was the Hero 11, but that was due to the device overheating, which was actually quite surprising for us. Next was the Hero 12, which lasted 1 hour and 52 minutes, while the Hero 13 lasted 1 hour and 57 minutes. This shows that even though the battery in the Hero 13 is bigger, there isn't a very noticeable difference in battery life compared to the Hero 12, which has a smaller battery. Of course, battery life will ultimately depend on how you use the camera and the quality settings that you choose for your videos. Next up, let's talk about storage. GoPro recommends using micro SD cards with a minimum write speed of V30, and the maximum supported capacity is up to 1 terabyte. None of these three models have built-in storage, so make sure that you grab a micro SD card for your cam. In terms of connectivity, the Hero 13 comes equipped with Wi-Fi 6, the latest Bluetooth 5.3, and GPS functionality, which for whatever reason GoPro thought was a good idea to remove on the Hero 12. Why? Thankfully, GPS is present in the Hero 11, as it should be. Also new in the Hero 13 is the automatic detection of lens mods, which is a nice upgrade since users found the manual selection process in older cameras a bit annoying. Additionally, the Hero 13 now supports a magnetic mount, allowing you to easily clip it into a compatible mount. However, do keep in mind that the mount is sold separately. As for the user interface, the menus and navigation in all three cameras are still a bit cumbersome, with lots of little sub-menus that can be tricky to tap on, especially on such a small screen. This is even more noticeable in the cold weather we're currently experiencing in Berlin, as your hands and fingers get so cold. Some settings do use sliders though that can also be difficult to adjust. That said, the camera itself is fast and responsive, and the physical buttons have a great clicky feel to them. When it comes to waterproofing, all models can handle submersion without a waterproof case at a depth of 10 meters. Finally, let's talk pricing. On GoPro's official website, the Hero 13 is listed at $399, the Hero 12 at $349, and the Hero 11 at $199. However, with current deals and discounts, you might snag these cameras at an even better price. So, taking everything into account, the GoPro Hero 13 doesn't really bring much to the table this year. The only notable upgrades are faster Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connections, the return of GPS, and a slightly bigger battery. GoPro also released new lens mods, including the ND Filter 4-pack, macro lens mods, anamorphic lens mod, and ultra-wide lens mod. However, these lens mods are not backwards compatible. When it comes to actual video recording capabilities, things are almost virtually the same as last year's GoPros. Sure, the automatic recognition of the lens mods and the magnetic mount are nice touches, but you still have to buy those separately, which adds to the overall cost. So if the lack of lens mods, the absence of GPS on the Hero 12, or the missing log support on the Hero 11 aren't deal breakers for you, we'd honestly recommend going for one of the older models, especially with the discounted prices available, as the footage is practically identical to the Hero 13. If you personally own a GoPro, we're curious to know how your experience has been. Please definitely let us know in the comments below. And if you're wondering how DJI's Action 5 Pro stacks up against the Action 4 and Action 3, be sure to check out the video that comes next. Also, keep your eyes peeled as we'll be pitting these cameras against each other in an upcoming showdown. And before you go, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, as we're always testing out new devices to help you make the right choice for you. Links to all of the devices mentioned in this video can be found in the description below. We'll see you in our next video, and until then, take care.